At the beginning of the film, we see many pieces of rocks that were on the moon coming toward the Earth. If they hit the Earth, the whole of humanity will be destroyed. Therefore, the world starts trying to save the Earth from this destruction. For this, a project is made, according to which a large base is built on the moon. The plan of the humans was that they would use nuclear bombs, weapons, and rockets to destroy the big rock, whose pieces are coming towards the Earth. For this mission, they will stay on moon, so they can stop the destruction. And finally, after years of hard work, humans make nuclear rockets that will move to moon. After which it is shown that everyone in the world is celebrating their victory. After this, we see the main character of the story, Dugu, who was not interested in all this. Was only in his captain, he used to like her. As she comes in front of Dugu, he stands quietly and starts looking at her. Now because of his laziness, the captain scolds her, after which she leaves. After her departure, Dugu also goes to his room and starts thinking of new ways to influence the captain. But he had no idea that some pieces of the rock were moving toward their base. And they had less than 30 minutes to get out of the base. As the captain finds out, she tells everyone to leave this place. After it, everyone starts running from there, except Dugu, because he was lost in his thoughts. In a short while, all the workers left the base and started going towards the rockets, in which they will move far from the moon. When Dugu sees the warning message on the screen, he understands that there must be something wrong. There was hustle and bustle, and as he understands the situation, he moves out to reach his companions. But he sees that all the rockets have already flown, except for one, whose pilot was his captain. Dugu starts driving the car speedily toward the rocket and starts flying in the wind from a height. But he cannot cross it and wants to hit it from a place, because the pieces of the rocks were moving toward them speedily, so the captain is also forced to fly her rocket. When Dugu comes to the rocket's place, he finds out that everyone has gone while leaving him. As all the rockets go from there, many pieces of the rock start colliding with the moon's surface, which destroys everything. Seeing this, Dugu immediately starts running to save his life. But then a piece of rock bursts in front of him, with which he falls at a distance. But somehow he manages to escape this explosion. Then he sees a huge pit there. He runs towards it to hide in it. Then another explosion takes place, due to which he falls far away in the air and becomes unconscious. During this time, he was unaware that there is a very big piece of rock on the moon that is rapidly growing toward the ground. Dugu comes to his senses and immediately stands up and starts looking at the ground and getting angry at his people. That you didn't even wait for me and left me. But then very soon he gets the news that a very big piece of rock is about to collide with the ground. Then after a while, when the piece collides with the ground, there is a very big explosion. Due to this, our whole world is destroyed. It felt like the end of humanity. After which the Earth looked like a burning ball. When Dugu, who was left alone on the moon, was completely disappointed and hopeless. That's why now he has no other way but to go back to the base. He goes to the base and tries to contact everywhere, but he doesn't get any answer from anywhere. Because of this, he realizes that he is the only one left in this world. This increases his sorrow. At the same time, he starts remembering his dead companions. Now here he had so much food that at least his death was enough for him. After it, he goes back to the world of his thoughts and goes straight to the captain's room, where he gets a little bit of courage. That's why after shaving he starts eating food with his imaginary friend, the captain. But during this time, he doesn't know that at some point on the ground, some people had succeeded in escaping the destruction. That means they were alive and were worried to see Dugu's mischievous behavior on the screen, including the president, who tells the captain to spread Dugu's news everywhere, so that those who are alive, who have to face difficulties, a hope will be born in them. The captain doesn't like this idea because Dugu was on the moon far away from the ground. And to give an example to people, such a person should be presented who has also gone through difficult situations. But Dugu was very happy there and living a peaceful life. He also had everything to eat. Then one morning when Dugu goes to get food, he realizes that something is wrong here, because he has felt someone's presence there, and also gets a package of food as proof, which he didn't open. Then he slowly starts going to the dining room, where he sees someone's shadow who was lying down. It felt like he was a girl, and Dugu sees him and gets very happy. He starts going towards him with love. But when he reaches her, he finds out that he is not a girl but a kangaroo. Its size was much larger than a normal kangaroo. Seeing the kangaroo, it felt like it was not happy to see Dugu here, means was not happy to see a human being here. Dugu picks up a stick of iron and tries to scare the kangaroo, but he couldn't because the kangaroo is not afraid of him at all. In fact, it becomes furious and snatches the stick from Dugu and breaks it so easily as if it was made of paper. Then it hits Dugu a lot and takes out its aggression, but Dugu would also not stop. He makes a fun plan to cool down its aggression and improves its mood. He makes his appearance like a female kangaroo and comes in front of it, like wearing lipstick and colorful clothes. By doing this, he becomes successful in his plan. But when the kangaroo finds out that all this is a lie and Dugu is doing it, it becomes enraged and kicks him hard, to which Dugu falls at a distance even after repeatedly losing to the kangaroo. He keeps fighting it. Then he brings a machine gun to defeat him and starts firing bullets at the kangaroo. Those bullets were small plastic balls which hit the kangaroo and forced it to run away. It runs away from there, but he had already caused a lot of destruction. The situation changes when the kangaroo gets ready to fight again. It traps Dugu in such a way that he has no way to run away. Dugu slaps the kangaroo, on which the kangaroo retaliates and once again kicks him hard, to which he falls at a distance. Because of this, Dugu becomes furious. He gets up and picks up his gun and was about to attack the kangaroo. But before that, the kangaroo grabs him and slaps him on the face. After this, it doesn't spare him and beats him a lot, which makes both of them fall down. But both of them don't get hurt. Then Dugu is very surprised to see the signals he had sent on the ground. His answer is coming, which gives him hope that maybe the humans are still alive on the ground, who was saved from that destruction, but he was unaware of this, that this signal came not from the ground, but because of hitting the kangaroo's tail with the device. Because no one was coming to save him. They couldn't send this spaceship for him, but unaware of all this, Dugu was very happy. He was full of hope, and he also shows the kangaroo that very soon we will go back to our land, but the kangaroo slaps him again and throws him down. Dugu stays here on the moon, and 200 days had passed since he learned to live with the kangaroo. He also made a plan that how he can go back from here. Then he leaves the base with the kangaroo and tells him on the way that a spaceship is still on the moon. We will leave from here while using it, and now we are going to it. Soon they reach the spaceship, and somehow they succeed in bringing it. Dugu then starts to fix it and starts to change all the broken parts, but then he finds out a big problem, that the spaceship could only bear 20 pounds. That's why he needed a different system to run the spaceship. Dugu remembers that the nuclear system is still on the moon, that he needed to get its system and petrol. That's why they both come out and go to the research building on the other side, where the entire nuclear system was present. The people on the ground were also able to see Dugu's nuclear system plan, but they don't want him to do it. Then we come to know that Dugu's car could only run with the sunlight. But the sunlight was only on the moon for 14 days. And these were the days when the sun was present on the moon. That's why his car was able to move. But the sun was only there for the time that his car could only run for 6 kilometers. Because the research building was 8 kilometers away, then Dugu could have got stuck on the way. And he could have died because of the cold. That's why he was going there speedily. It felt like he was racing and competing with the sun. During all this, he only slept for 4 hours, where the kangaroo helped him to wake him up on time. But because of this difficulty, he often reached his imaginary world. One day when the kangaroo takes him out of his thoughts, he screams and comes out of his thoughts. He sees the reality in front of him is even more scared than he thought, because he falls into the ditch and comes to the surface. Finally, after a long and dangerous journey, they reach the research building, where the nuclear weapons and the system were present. They go inside the building quickly and move forward very carefully. Dugu soon finds the nuclear bomb, which he takes down because it was hanging up there. But then the kangaroo thinks of mischief and it starts pressing the control button hardly, because of which the nuclear bomb starts moving fastly. Angered by this, Dugu locks it in the van. Then they start coming back to the base with the nuclear system and the bomb. In the meantime, he doesn't even think that the van is separated from his car, in which he had locked the kangaroo. Then after going a little far, he stops the car at one place to rest and comes out to check on his kangaroo friend. But he sees that the van is not with his car and he wanted to bring his friend back. But because the sun was setting, he couldn't do that. He has to take a difficult decision that without finding it, he will move forward alone. Then he thinks that he is my friend, I can't leave it to die. That's why he turns his car around and without worrying about his life, he starts going to his friend. Finally, he reaches it, and as he opens the door, the kangaroo hugs him and starts licking him in love. After which he starts his journey again towards the base and were trying not to fall asleep. But the sun was going away from him. He was watching it drowning with his own eyes, because of which his chances of survival were also ending. Then the kangaroo gets disappointed and starts looking at Dugu. Dugu gets an idea. He turns off the heat to save the sun's light, but his plan does not succeed. His car stops on the way, and the trouble was increasing for them because he was still far from his base. There was only 3 hours of oxygen left in their tanks to breathe, when Dugu gets disappointed and comes out because now his death was near. But when he was sitting outside, he thought of the kangaroo. He breaks the door of his car and uses tools to make a sled that is often used to scratch in the snow. Dugu ties his rope to the kangaroo and gets on the sled. Then the kangaroo was running fast and moving forward, and they were also moving towards their base. But then a huge trench comes in front of them. Dugu tells the kangaroo to jump without fear, after which they both start flying in the air. Meanwhile, Dugu opens his gas tank and like a hero, they start flying up in the air. Finally, they cross that trench. After it, they both succeed in bringing the nuclear bomb and the system to the base. He was happy because of this. But he didn't know that another piece of rock was coming towards him. When he thinks about launching the rocket, he sees that signals are coming from the ground again. He becomes excited to see it. But when he sees the kangaroo playing with the system's wires, he discovers the signals are not real but fake. The first one was also produced because of the kangaroo's tail. Seeing it, he was sad and disappointed, because he feels that there is no one else in this world who is alive except him. I am the only human being who is alive. Now everyone on Earth sees this disappointment on Dugu's face, and decides that we will tell Dugu that he is not alone. In fact, we are also there. That's why everyone gathers together and turns their lights toward the moon. Then when Dugu sees this, he doesn't believe his eyes that humans are really alive. Seeing it, he becomes emotional and starts crying. He fixes his system, because of which he was able to see his colleagues and friends on Earth, in which his captain was also present, whom he liked. After this, everyone starts working together to make the spaceship again and bring Dugu back. Soon they succeed in their plan and make this spaceship. Both of them were ready to go to Earth and get ready to leave from here. But they didn't know that another part of the rock was moving towards the Earth. After this, Dugu moves towards his rocket and everyone becomes happy to see this and starts celebrating. Meanwhile, Dugu succeeds in connecting his rocket to the spaceship that was sent by the Earth. But as he starts flying it, the captain gets a bad news. That another part of the rock is moving towards the Earth, because it was a huge orb of that big rock, which was separated from it and was moving towards the Earth. After knowing this, people realized that if someone can save us, then it is Dugu, because he has a nuclear bomb with him. This means Dugu's death because he had to sacrifice himself to save the people on Earth. When the captain tells Dugu about this mission, he immediately agrees, even though he knows that he has to sacrifice himself. Dugu leaves Kangaroo in a small spaceship and says goodbye to it. He thanks it that it has supported him in such a difficult time. "You are my best friend." After which he presses the button and sends Kangaroo towards the Earth, but he starts crying while seeing it, because he knew that he is seeing his friend for the last time and we will never meet again. Both of them become emotional to seize each other, and this was a sad scene. But because he had to complete the biggest mission of saving the world, that's why he starts moving towards the rock that was the root of all this trouble. Then he gets trapped in the storm of the small pieces of the rock, and somehow he starts passing through them and was moving forward safely. But then a piece of the rock comes and clashes with his ship, and his ship lost its control. It was getting out of control, which Dugu was trying to control. He breaks a door with which the ship came under control. When he goes to check the ship, he finds out that the engine is completely destroyed. So now Dugu decides that he will take the nuclear bomb to the rock by pulling the trigger meant sacrifice and death. But because he had to save the world, so he comes out without worrying about his life. He pushes the bomb and starts moving towards the big rock. Without any fear, he was constantly moving forward, during which his suit was also in bad shape, and now finally he reaches the rock. Even in his last moments, he was thinking about the captain, and suddenly a big explosion takes place there. And that rock is completely destroyed, which obviously also causes Dugu's death. Then we see that all the people of the Earth come out and look towards the sky, and starts praising him while remembering Dugu's courage and sacrifice. They were calling him a hero because he had sacrificed himself and saved humanity. Then after many years, humans settle the Earth as before, where kangaroos also get their home back in a clean environment. Captain and his team were also sent back to the moon so that they can continue their work to protect the Earth. This concludes the story. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.